Welcome to episode 216 at Mighty White's podcast. I'm Jack, as always, joined by Casey.
Hello.
How's things, mate?
Not too bad, actually. We're going to go back into the Man City game, I imagine, which will bring things down a touch. But apart from that, yeah.
It's a weird one, the Man City game, because even in the dire straits we were in, I think if you'd have offered me 2-1 before the game, I'd have had to take it because I expected it to be so much worse.
I think if you'd have freeze-framed a lot of their chances and then told me we only lost 2-1, I'd gone, that's brilliant, yes.
Yeah. Well, we may as well go straight into it. Obviously, got beat 2-1. It was very one-sided and very passive. And I understand why. It's not an unreasonable thing to do against Manchester City. And, we looked... Did we? Yeah, no, we did. We did look better defensively than we did when we played them at Elland Road. There wasn't loads. There was not really a great deal of interesting stuff to talk about in terms of how we lined up. I suppose the biggest one is probably Robles playing instead of Meslier.
Yeah, which ultimately isn't that shocking given his form. I think even if he'd had a great week in training, I think if you're watching the footage back of the last few games, you're probably looking thinking this guy is shot on confidence anyway. Do we need Erling Haaland to be within 3 yards of him to pounce on all the mistakes he's going to make?
Yeah, he was. I think it was. To be honest, we both said a while. There was always an argument for keeping him in, but I think this needed to happen a few weeks ago. You don't see it that often at the top level of sport where someone he's basically got the yips. You can just tell something's gone confidence-wise, and hopefully it just comes back. The other one that didn't really end up affecting anything, I don't think, off the top of my head, was Christensen playing right centre-back.
Yeah, he did.
That's
all I've got on that, really.
I mean, we went through a load of potential things that Sam Allardyce might do. Picking only one centre-back, I don't think was at any point one of the options we came up with.
No, obviously there was talk about Liam Cooper's fitness and whether he'd end up making it. I think we were all pretty happy that Verba did make it for this one.
Yeah.
Because Christ knows what we'd have done otherwise.
Well, I dare say Strauch would have just played left centre-back.
Yeah, and look what happened.
Yeah, he's certainly had better cameos, although he has had a worse one.
Yes. We'll always have Cardiff.
Yeah. So, first half, I mean, it was all Man City. Just all the way through. Leeds dropping incredibly. Leeds, it's not so much how deep we were playing. It was just the amount we were standing off. And again, I understand why. But it looked like that's what Man City were expecting us to do. And they're that good that they will just keep... You can't sit off them and wait for a mistake because they don't really make them. They'll make one a game. They made one in this game and we scored off it. I
mean, I found it impressive how far we chose to stand off Gundogan. Just fuck it, leave him.
Yeah. Well, we'll go straight into the goals. Because they're with the same goal.
Yeah.
Ball out to Mahrez. Mahrez is shown inside because, generally speaking, Mahrez is very good at cutting inside against anyone. And 2, it looked as if that was the instruction given. Just shepherd him away from the goal. And 2 pullbacks to Gundogan. And there was a load of stuff on Twitter, people going, oh, it's McKennie's fault. Oh, it's Rocker's fault. Some on Forshaw. And I have no idea which one of them it was. In theory, if you looked at the way they were set up, it was probably normally Forshaw. Because Rocker seemed to... McKennie seemed to have... between De Bruyne and Alvarez, that seemed to be McKennie and Rocker. But McKennie and Rocker...
Such a mismatch.
Yeah, McKennie and Rocker were dropping so deep that when the ball goes out to Mahrez, we basically have a back 6 at that point. And then Rico Lewis makes a run into the box. And that drags Forshaw in. So we have loads of players back, but they are all in the defensive line, and no one is on the edge of the box. And that's why I'm not picking out any players for that, because I don't know who it was meant. I don't know if that was who it was meant to be. I don't know if Big Sam told them, no, just drop in and cover everything. And if they score from 25 yards, fair play. So I don't know who to pick out, but whenever you concede the exact same goal twice, you're gonna be annoyed about it.
Yeah, it's something I think it's frustrating because if we'd have been torn apart by Man City, with some free-flowing football, you'd be thinking, well, fair enough, that's what they're going to do. It is frustrating when you've got 9 men camped out on the edge of your own penalty area and they still somehow find the gap.
Yeah, if it was it Alvarez that skied one from about the penalty spot, and we had 8 players in the box in 2 banks of 4, and him stood completely unmarked in the middle of 8 players.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the ones that are annoying because you're like, oh, come on, you've got the players there.
Yeah, I think as I watched this as well, seeing how deep we were, I thought Mark Rocker looked really out of place in this team.
It doesn't suit him at all.
He really struggled tracking men. I think I'm trying to remember which chance it was. I think it was one of Erling Haaland's chances, but you just see people just breeze past him, and he's got no chance with them.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's loads of arguments about whether he's actually any good, whether he's just shy, whatever. The main thing is, God, he does not suit us at all. Because, and I don't just mean us under Big Sam. I don't think he suited us slightly more under Graffia, sort of. But he didn't suit us under Marsh either.
No, because he was playing in a team that was, very high energy, high pressing, and he could, and in that system, he could only play 70 minutes.
Yeah, and it wasn't pick out a pass; it was get it forward into whatever the zone it is on the edge of the box. I don't know what the terms are. Zone 13.
You see their centre back. Give it to him.
Yeah,
that's a good pass for us.
It just goes back to the whole lack of joined up thinking at the club, signing players that don't suit, things like that. So yeah, both goals. I don't think Robles could have done out with either of them. I thought he made a couple of good saves. If you watch the Leeds United version of the highlights on YouTube, he made a wonderful save on the penalty, according to the commentary. Even though I am pretty certain it only hit him after it came back off the post.
Yeah. He did well to redirect that penalty.
Yeah. But that the penalty being missed in the second half, missed by Gundogan. There's 2 versions of this. You can either say Haaland, oh no, he wanted to give his teammate a chance to get a hat-trick. We all know he just didn't want to score against Leeds.
I think at this stage of the season, he didn't want to put himself in a position where he was thinking, I could put Leeds down here. I don't want that on my conscience.
He was probably Leeds' man of the match. He missed.
I think I saw a couple of posts on Twitter just did picture of Robles saying the man who stopped Haaland, and I was like, no, the picture you need for that is Erling Haaland.
Yeah.
There's only one man who denied him, and if you want to throw a crossbar in there as well, you go for it. But if he'd have had his shooting boots on, he could have had 3 or 4.
Yeah. But I suppose the argument at the other side of this, I don't think you can say Big Sam's plan worked because they should have scored more. They definitely should have scored more goals. But do I think that we'd have been worse in this game under Graffia? Also, yes.
Yes, because the defence would have been 10, 15 yards higher up the pitch.
Yeah, I think
there'd have been a lot of space for them to get into. I do think there is that element of having the bodies there certainly blocked off space that Haaland likes to get into. Not so much that he didn't get on the ball at all, but it did make him receiving the ball in the air as he likes it a shade more difficult. But I can't really complain about it either. I don't think his game plan worked. Well, no, it didn't work. They created lots of chances. We had 19% possession. At halftime, Gundogan had played more passes than us as a team.
Yeah.
Almost double, actually.
And also, that was a thing. Now, don't look, we were always going to. I actually, it came up in the pub. One of the things was, how much possession do you think we're going to have? And I think I said 25, and it turns out I was overselling it.
Yeah.
But one thing that did surprise me about that it was quite that panicky and just kick it up to Bamford, who is 50 yards away from any other Leeds player. Like, Allardyce made a point in his press conference of saying one thing is, when you do get the ball against a team like this, you have to keep it for a bit, because otherwise you're just under constant pressure. Which he told the press, but I'm not sure he told the Leeds team.
Well, to be honest, he probably will have done, because look at our passing all season.
Yeah, true.
We have the most panicked passing I've seen that this team where, and I think at first, I think a lot of us put it down to the tempo that we played under Marsh, that it was so rushed.
Well, I thought that more than tempo, I thought a lot of these just panicky kick the ball forward to like the D. I thought that it was literally instructed, because I believe that has been a thing when he's talked about coaching. You get the ball into that area. But the problem, did you read any of that Athletic piece through the week talking about the training? And
no, I haven't had a chance yet.
Yeah, apparently, like there was a lot of concerns within the club that basically Leeds haven't been coached what to do with the ball in 14 months. Just like Bielsa left, Marsh came in, and it was all this training. Here's how you press. Here's how you win the ball back. Harrying, do this, do that. And what do we do when we get it? Fuck knows.
Give it to them.
And I have no way of knowing if that is an accurate representation, but I can certainly believe it, having watched us.
I said to you before, like I really enjoy watching football with my mum, because she is very much a, why don't we play a flat 4-4-2? Why isn't everything the way it was in 1999?
Also, I mean, we might tomorrow. There's a chance.
Well, true. But I, as someone who is more interested in that side of things as well, will explain certain elements of the game to us. So it's like, well, what is this Marsh philosophy? And I explained it all, and she just went, "Oh, so how does it work then?" And, "Oh, it doesn't."
Yeah.
Like, it works if you've got Erling Haaland spearheading a team in the Austrian league. Yeah, you'll be fine. Oh, in the Premier League, God no.
Now, it's a weird one. The one thing is, though, that Big Sam's whole thing is stay in the game, and we did. For the most part, we stayed in the game. We had 2 good chances.
And we nearly nicked it.
Well, we had 2 good chances. Weston McKennie's header from a corner was a good chance. It's not one that you have to score or anything, but it was a good chance. And then at the end, long ball up in the air. Firpo, who for some reason is the second furthest forward player, wins a good header. Akanji makes a mess of it. Rodrigo finishes well. Rodrigo showing why we probably need to get him on the pitch, just because he seems to be the only one that can finish. And this bit, after Rodrigo's goal, I think is the one bit that I was annoyed at Big Sam for. I know that the most likely thing to have happened if we did this is they pick us off and score the third. But it was definitely worth the gamble. And they might have just kept the ball for 7 minutes anyway, because they're really good. But we still stood off them and didn't even try and win the ball back. You're 2-1 down with like 7 minutes left, including stoppage time. You in a relegation battle.
Go for the point.
You have to try and get that point. Even though it's incredibly unlikely, even though they'll probably pick you off, you have to go for it. And we just didn't. And that was the only bit of it that, even though it's not my favourite tactically and stuff, that was the only bit that I was properly annoyed at.
Yeah. put Paul Butler up front, knock it up to him. He wins the knockdowns for Rodrigo. It's the Kevin Blackwell method of we need a goal, put the big lad up top. The Big Sam method of put Christopher Samba up front.
Yeah. Because he did bring on Rodrigo about the hour mark while Bamford was still on, but Rodrigo was just playing defensive mid, basically, because we were so deep.
No, it's really not this. A relegation team really isn't Rodrigo's forte. Or maybe it is. This is his best season.
It's his best season.
Maybe he should. Maybe needs to get to Valencia.
I mean, for as much as obviously we got beat and that was a shame, getting beat 2-1 on Man City wasn't the thing that ruined everyone's weekend. It was Monday.
Well, Monday always ruins people's weekends.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, as the Daily Mail came out with, fans fuming that BBC did refuse to air Match of the Day, like as if they'd filmed Match of the Day on Monday night. They went, "No, we won't give it." No, there just wasn't one. It turns out there absolutely should have been.
Yeah,
but
yeah, there was a few goals.
Yes, Carnage Monday.
So it started all right. What is it? Fulham beat Leicester 5-3.
Yep. What was it? Fulham went 3-0 up. Looking comfortable. I think it
3-0, 3-1, 5-1, 5-3.
Yeah.
James
Maddison was broken.
Yeah.
He was broken by that.
It went to shit afterwards. Yeah, you had, what was it? Brighton 1, Everton 5, which I'm such a pessimist. And I could see Everton getting something in that game just because of pessimism. I couldn't. On my worst day of pessimism, I did not see Everton scoring 5 goals away at Brighton.
No, very disappointing. Clearly, De Zerbi didn't expect it either. Because I think he'd had quite a few players in that have played a lot of football recently, and he made a quadruple sub at halftime.
Yeah,
to no effect.
I fortunately only watched about 10 minutes of this because I said I'm not going to watch these games because I'll just get annoyed. So there was 10 minutes of it where I really was just sat doing nothing and ended up watching it. But by all accounts, every single trap that Everton set for them, Brighton just played straight into them. And they just give the ball away 30 yards from their own goal, and then Everton would counter with pace, and they just couldn't live with it. And then Forest beat Southampton 4-3 in the late game, and that basically puts us in a position where we, what do you reckon do we need 5 points?
Looking at the table now.
They do have tough fixtures.
I still think we could do it with 4.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm into that horrible mindset of now of, well, we're the early kickoff on Saturday, so the other teams will know when we've lost. What a point would be a good result for them. Southampton will win, so it means they stay in touch with us, despite the fact they have to win.
You don't need to worry. You don't. Southampton are what 8 points off safety with 3 games left. Southampton are relegated.
I'm not worried about them surviving. I'm worried about them overtaking us. Those are two different things. Yeah. Yeah, because they have to win all 3 games now to have a chance of staying up.
Yeah.
It's that horrible thing of having to look at all the fixtures. Chelsea, we got Forest away at Chelsea.
Which, if Chelsea had an actual manager, you'd think would be fine.
Yeah, I've always spoken very highly of Sir Fat Frank at Stamford Bridge, but
Everton are at home to Man City. I do have faith in Man City.
If they didn't win the league because of this,
yeah,
you'd be absolutely fuming.
Yeah.
Leicester are away at Liverpool. At home to Liverpool. But Liverpool have been in better form as of late.
They've been in really good form, and they are in with a decent shout of still managing to creep into the top 4.
So
this weekend, if we can get a result, like
I think if you could get a point from this game, I think it'd be a really good result for us. If the other results go our way,
yeah, and
which
that's something that
at this point is anyone's guess, but
that was something Sam Allardyce made a big point of in his press conference. Like, we cannot lose this game. Like, he didn't say, like he said, obviously we're going to try and win it and stuff, but he was very clear on it must not lose. And if all the
can't afford to lose, he said as he counted his £125,000 for managing this game.
Yeah, he also, yeah, God, it's decent work if you can get it, isn't it?
I know, right?
I don't know if you've seen, by the way, but Leeds United are now 1-3 to be relegated.
Yeah.
So, hopefully we can beat the odds, but I don't think that it's looking all that likely. There was some good news. The under-21s beat Villa in the playoff semi-final. Goals from Matteo Joseph and Sonny Perkins. They actually took his advice and played Rutter, who, by all accounts, was good. No stronger than that. Good. He apparently didn't stand out next to he looked good. Sean McGurk looked better. Was the main takeaway according to
one cost what $200,000 from Wigan.
Yeah.
The other cost 35 fucking million.
Yeah. But
now one thing I will say
is fault.
I will say I think one of those two is probably lacking match fitness at this stage as well.
Yeah.
But oh god. You know what? When people, when you hear people say, God, I hope he has that, as they say on the square ball, like, I hope he has that one moment this season. And God, when he bangs in the winner to gain promotion for the under-21s, it'll be a great moment for him.
If we don't play him on Saturday, I want him starting on Monday night, because that's the result. Leeds play Forest at Elland Road on Monday night, 7:00.
And Forest, as we know, can't win on the road. I'm saying that. I've not looked at the 21s table. I don't know the away record of their 21s, but I'm just. I
really hope that we can win that on Monday night, because it might be the only thing that we get out of this season. And the funny thing is, if we do get promoted, from PL2 Div 2 into Div 1 and go down, and all the best 21s move up into the first team squad, there is a chance that we will go up, and then our 21s might get absolutely battered next season.
Oh God. Yeah, obviously, I'm really happy they've got themselves in this position,
because they should have gone up. Like, they really did make a mess of the end of it.
But it's going to make for a good occasion at Elland Road Monday night.
Yeah.
Although I imagine if we lose to Newcastle, it could still be a tense affair on Monday.
Yeah.
Just bring the panic with us.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that on Monday, and we will be going. And we'll also be going tomorrow.
Yay!
In fairness, Casey, our record with you there has been all right this season. Not.
Well, I'm trying to think my games this season. So beat Bournemouth, lost to Man City, drew with West Ham, beat Cardiff.
Yeah. God, you've been to fewer than I thought this season, but you are at the last two.
Yes.
So yeah, Newcastle.
Which in my case, I'm now thinking, oh fuck, like what's this millstone you've hung around my neck at this point?
Yeah, Newcastle at home. Newcastle are a good side this year. They're third in the league. They have lots of very good attacking options. When they break so quickly, which worries me with our midfield. I think against us, they're probably going to go like really all out for it. They'll play the 4-3-3, but I think they'll play, provided everyone's fit, I think they'll play Isaac and Callum Wilson. I think they'll play Wilson at 9, Isaac off the left. Probably Jacob Murphy, current form, on the right because he's been playing really well. And then I think they'll pick the more attacking midfield where they have Bruno Guimaraes sitting and Willock and Joelinton either side.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the team they put out when they played Southampton.
I haven't looked at that, actually.
Which is, they started with Anthony Gordon, but Callum Wilson...
I keep forgetting he's there.
Callum, yeah. Well, it's... If there was an award for it, it would go down as most pointless signing of the season. He's a good player, but...
No, Jorginho Rutter.
No, we've got a long-term vision with him, Jack. You've just got big picture, 5 years time. The resale value on him will be 37 million. It'll all not have been worth it. But in not to harp on too much about Jorginho Rutter and the incompetence in his signing, we needed a striker. We didn't entirely sign one, but we sort of did. They really didn't need Anthony Gordon in that team.
No.
But yeah, looking at them, Callum Wilson got 2 in that game against Southampton. Probably could have had a hat trick because he had that one that hit the bar twice. And like I say, you got Joelinton, Guimaraes, and Willock.
It's a really good midfield, is that? Obviously, it comes up every time you talk about him, but who knew that signing a 40 million... Hey, they spent 40 million on a forward and it didn't work out at all. And now he's a cracking centre mid. So, Mr. Rutter. In fairness, if we could have Bielsa back, he probably would be an 8.
Yeah. Conceded the least goals this season as well. Newcastle with 29.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the things that I've got on a note here. There was times like last season when you looked at them, one before the takeover and stuff, they were just poor. But you looked at them at the back and didn't reckon a great deal to them. And that's not the case anymore. Trippier's been really good at right back. Cher and Botman is a really good centre defensive pair. Nick Pope's a cracking keeper. Dan Burn, how he's turned into a good left back, I've no idea. And I'm still banging the drum. He's not the same bloke that we watched in the Championship. But even if they don't play him, if they go for a more conventional left back, Matt Targett, good player.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of got to commend what Graham Potter did with Dan Burn. Should have held out and gone to Chelsea. It'd have been one of their best defenders, to be honest. But no, it's defensively they've just been fantastic, and I know that still. When the worst is, I don't know about Nick Pope with the ball at his feet, and you're like, well, if you're keeping clean sheets like that, I don't think you really need to worry about it too much.
Yeah, and that's one of the worries that I have. The way that we're playing, the style we're likely to play, we're maybe going to get 2 or 3 chances, and you have to take them. And when you're against someone who's such a good shot stopper, you do worry that maybe we'll only get 2 chances, and even if we do well with them, they might not go in. And we won't stand off in the same way that we did against Man City, but you'd still think we're going to be passive and deep and try and counter.
Yeah, I know it's a completely different setup now, but just looking at the stats last time we played them, 8 shots, 1 on target, which was a decent effort from Rodrigo. If I remember rightly, at St James's Park, we barely did a thing in the second half.
Oh, they absolutely battered. Meslier had an absolute worldie, didn't he, in that game?
He was brilliant. We got very lucky. Kieran Trippier couldn't put in a free kick for whatever reason that day.
Yeah.
I think we rode our luck a lot in that game. So, unfortunately, we're not looking any strong. I'm just looking at the team for that one. That was still in the era of Strauch at left back and Cooper and Koch in the middle.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about Leeds a bit now then. What changes do you think he'll make? Because I mean, he said in his press conference there is going to be at least a couple.
Yeah, I kind of struggled with this one again because just looking at that team, if Cooper's fit, I assume he comes back in.
And do you think that moves Verba to left back if that happens?
I think I prefer to see Cooper and Verba together in the middle.
Although he by the way, I've just remembered back to the press conference. Cooper definitely isn't fit.
Is he not fit there? Well,
yeah, he said. Yeah, he said Cooper, Adams, Dallas, Sinisterra are long term are out. Also, let me rephrase that. What he actually said was Cooper, Dallas, Adams, and what is it? Sinisterra.
Lewis.
Yeah, which of course is exactly what you want from a manager to not know the name of your players.
I mean, I suppose at this point it's a little bit annoying, but at the same time, he has literally been injured since he arrived and will have very few interactions with him because he won't be playing again this season.
Yeah. He also spent quite a lot of his press conference talking about how it was always going to be difficult for Leeds this season because it's always difficult in your second season in the Premier League.
Yep.
And then got to the end of his point and went, "It's the third, isn't it?"
To be fair, it was difficult in our second season. He's not wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know. Were you surprised that Koch was one that dropped out?
I was, but apparently he had an injury in training, and that was why. I'm assuming that he's going to come back in for Christensen. I think he'll leave Ayling in. I think Robles will keep his place. And one of the three midfielders, the like three deep centre mids, I think one of them is going to come out for a more attacking one.
Well, he did bring Greenwood on, didn't he? He brought Greenwood and Aronson both came on at City.
Yeah. I genuinely could see it being either one of them. Or maybe even Rodrigo. Because he might sit as deep, but then play some attacking players so that if we do get a chance, there's people there to take it.
Yeah, it's one of the things. I don't think Bamford played particularly well, and I think one of the big issues he had was his decision making when we really needed to hold the ball up for a few seconds wasn't there, and I think he tried to rush a few things.
Yeah, it was a bit of a perfect storm because it was set up to make his job incredibly difficult. And then the few occasions where he did get a chance to do it, he sort of was at best 50-50 with them.
Yeah, there's a few times when I think he's played a couple of pullbacks and stuff like that. No one's there, and you just keep your back to them there. Just hold it for a couple of seconds. Let us get 10 yards, 15 yards further up the pitch. But again, given how we're playing, and two, his form, it's not entirely surprising. So it might be quite nice if there is a Rodrigo in there as well as someone to play a bit closer to him. Unless we get the Rodrigo box-to-box midfielder that we got against Fulham.
Yeah. The other thing is, I'm still not mad keen on Gnonto when he's on the right. So I think he might invert the wingers because it was mostly Harrison left, Gnonto right. I think he might switch them over. Even though he might like width, I think neither of them looked great.
No, and especially when we're in a team that doesn't have a lot of aerial prowess or anything like that, and Bamford's on his own, it doesn't really make sense. Like it doesn't suit Gnonto's game to be getting to the byline. Harrison's is more suited to that. I've always said I prefer Jack Harrison as a left winger, but in terms of the two of them, I think Gnonto's the better player, and I think you've got to get him in his best position.
Out of all our wingers, is there only Somerville who's probably strongest on the right?
Probably.
Yeah. Because Aronson is a central player, really, who can play on the right.
McKennie.
But all of our wingers... I suppose it's... like that is just
use him as a wide target, man.
It's another one of them big, like, sort of squad building things that, as much as Sinistera looks, if he could stay fit, he looks a very good player for the money paid. But we lost a right winger and replaced him with a left winger.
Yeah, like we sold Rafinha and we bought two players who play in the same position as Jack Harrison, who was already a left winger. Now again, as time has gone on this season, I think he has looked more comfortable playing on the right.
Mm.
And I think that's just down to getting the reps in there more than anything. Yeah. But for someone who we for the most part wanted to keep and were looking to renew the contract with, it was an odd move to sign two left-sided players.
Yes.
But again, we've had the conversation about Victor Orta and the squad already. Yeah. We won't do that again.
No.
Damn it.
No, but I must admit they worry me to Newcastle. Just the fact that I can't see us getting more than one goal.
This season or
this year. No, but genuinely, I can't see us scoring more than once. And I look at their sort of front five and how well our defence has been playing, and I just don't see a way this goes our way, other than getting lucky and shithousing, which is that. I mean, we have got the right manager for that, to be fair,
but we are missing Tyler Adams very much.
Yeah, God, so much.
You loved a bit of shithousery. The other thing as well about the game against Newcastle it was at the end of it was either December or early January. I'm too lazy to check, but they had Chris Wood leading the line that day.
Yeah,
and like Chris Wood, Alexander Isak,
yeah. There's a difference between Wilson, Isak, Chris Wood.
Yeah. One of them left and ended up at Forest.
Yeah. I've just checked actually. Casey, your bet didn't win. I got lucky. Mine was void. because Robin Koch didn't play.
Fair.
Which was fortunate. Do you have a prediction for the Newcastle game?
I'm going to say a 1-1 draw.
I mean, it would probably be a good result, but I just don't see it, I'm afraid, so I'm going to say 3-1 defeat.
Oh, you were total pessimist.
I just can't see it. I wish I could. Nothing would make me happier than me being wrong. And have you seen anything bet-wise that took your fancy?
I've opened a section here that's stat specials on Paddy Power. And these are not out there as such, but they're not bets you'd normally make. Well, let's go with Newcastle to have 3 or more shots on target from outside the box, and that is 5-1.
I mean, Guimaraes loves a shot.
Free kicks.
Yeah, Trippier free kicks. Yeah, I could see that. I am going to have to find, again, because I'm so far behind the 8 ball, I am going to have to just find something that's, like some massive long shot bet. Well, not even massive long shot, but quite a long shot.
Leeds to win.
Yeah, they'll all play. I'm going to have all to be carded. McKennie, Firpo, Rocker, Guimaraes, which is 80-1. Because it's the only way I'm going to get back at this stage of the season. I'm done. Yeah, I just look at the two teams and I can't see a way this works out. I am really hoping to see us getting bodies closer to Bamford. Because it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you've got 40 yards of space between your striker and the rest of your team, it could be the best hold-up player in the world. You're not getting out in that situation.
Yeah, I think that there is part of me thinks we can shithouse our way to safety through 3 draws in these games, but
it is possible but unlikely.
Yeah. I think we need to be a bit less passive this time. Like, Newcastle is still a quality team, but
I'm not sure. I'd put it this way: if we were as passive as we were against Man City in a home game, I don't think the crowd would stand for it.
No, but I don't think Big Sam cares at this point. I don't think he cared from the start, to be fair. Like, it's not going to affect him all that much.
No.
Oh, what am I going to do? Leave in 2 weeks' time.
In fairness, he'll want the extra, like, £2.5 million that he gets if we stay up. He will care.
Oh, no, but I mean, in terms of the stadium, I don't think I'll bother him to. I think it'll terrify the players. Yeah, you need to see some sort of attacking intent, and again, for me, I would very much be looking at a 4-2-2 with Forshaw and McKennie as 2 holding mids.
Yeah, well, that's
and just have a back 6 and a front 4, and that's it.
That's the last thing that I was going to bring up, actually, in terms of changes. I was going to say that if Rodrigo comes in and does play as sort of the 10, do you think it'll be McKennie and Forshaw?
I think it probably should be, and that's saying a lot because we've given Weston McKennie a lot of abuse.
I think that's the most likely to with
much of it deserved, but I thought Rocker really struggled in that game.
Yeah, I am not ruling out Sam Greenwood.
Again, in terms, the more you think about it, you just think, well, Christ,
I'm also not ruling him out at 10, by the way. I still think he's going to look at his set pieces and think, we need that.
Yeah. We need something.
Yeah. But that is the key. That's the right point to end on. We need something. Because if we lose this game, I mean, I think we're dead anyway, but if we lose this game, we're extra dead.
I suppose it's that thing of, if we lose this game, but everyone else loses, it's as you were. It's very much dependent on everyone else at that point, because.
But if everyone else loses, you'll be looking at the game going, "Fucking what if we'd have got something?"
Oh no, but I suppose that then depends on how the game went as well, and things like that. Because we've every right to feel that against a team like Leicester. Leicester are shit. Yeah. If you can't beat them at home, there's part of you thinks you probably deserve to go down. Fulham are having a decent season, but to ship 5 against that Fulham team is woeful.
That Fulham team without Mitrovic.
Yeah. If we lost 2-0 to Newcastle, you do kind of have to look and think, yeah, they're a good team.
Yeah.
But
that was the thing. I said it months and months ago. I said, if we're going to get out of this, we need to be well clear before these last 4 games. And with the opposite. So I just can't see it.
We dropped points in the games that we absolutely needed to get results from. There was not, we mentioned it before, night and day, the FA Cup game at Fulham and the league game at Fulham. It might as well have been 2 different teams that played.
Yeah.
Leicester was just a disgraceful tactical debacle by the end of it, and while the players need to hold some accountability, that was just such a poorly managed game. But hopefully now we've got someone who I don't think is going to be too afraid to make changes when they need to be.
That is one thing. He won't have paralysis by analysis. He won't be sitting there going, well, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this, and then end up doing nothing. As much as he might do things that aren't the thing the crowd wants to see a lot of the time, he will do what he thinks is the right thing to do, and he'll just do it.
Yeah.
And hopefully that can be enough. Hopefully we can shithouse a couple of goals, because it is a ridiculous situation that if we somehow won this game, all of a sudden everything changes and you're in with a real shout.
Yeah, and it's that thing of I just hope we give ourselves the opportunity.
Yeah. Well, that was another. He said in the press conference, we need to try and get the first goal. The first goal is so important. And I remember when he said it, and then I just flicked Twitter on at the same time, and it was just everyone going, "We must get the first goal." 1 minute 30 seconds. Leeds 0, Newcastle 1.
Because if we do win, we go to 16th again, and then pressure's on other teams.
Yeah. When they've all got tough games coming. Newcastle are a better side than us, so I can't expect to win. I think we'll get beat, but if we could get one, oh God, it'd be so massive. But that will do us for episode 216 of the Mighty Whites podcast. We just desperately need something. It could turn into a really big week if we can get someone on Saturday and go, and the 21s get promoted on Monday. All of a sudden, it's a really good weekend. But I've been Jax here.
I'm in KC. Have a good